Hello again everybody. So now the weather has finally come around to the idea that it's actually summertime. They've got the Manta back out of the lockup and working on it again. So you'll see that they do a repair around this section here. See, the windscreen is out, all the interior and everything is all out. Didn't bother filming that, it's quite a boring process. But it's all come okay. Like everything else on this car, it was a lot worse than it first looked. You'll see, hopefully I think I've got some footage when I started to see, you can see how bad it really was and see what we've got to. So there's some interesting bits and bobs in this about getting around windscreen apertures and what have you with no special trick tools, all done with simple tools, done with gasless wire again. Messing around with this now for about a week or so. And it was quite windy the first day I started, so I was glad of the gasless wire, to be honest. But yep, keep watching. Please subscribe if you don't. And a few of you have been asking about what's been happening with the Manta. Well, we can crack on. Alright, here we go again. So you can see windscreen is out, interior is out. So we are now in a position to start working on this rot around this corner here. Down the bottom of the pillar here. Quite a lot here. And up to there, I'm hoping I can get away with running up sort of quarter inch, half an inch way back from this grill. I hope I don't have to touch that. And we got some rot in the middle here, which I didn't know existed until I pulled the windscreen out. And in that corner over there as well. So a fair bit to do on this windscreen aperture. So I think I'll start this side and work our way in. Right, and now with the bonnet down, again, hopefully I can cut just to this edge here and keep that edge there, so we've got something to work to keep our body lines there. Let's crack on with this and see what damage we can do. Lovely. Okay, that's revealed some horrors there that didn't know existed, because Filler Man have sorted that out. Okay, what I think I'll do, I'll build up to this corner first. And so we've got our lines where we know we're going to. And then build this section here. And then work our way into that. And deal with whatever we come across in the process. Okay, so looking for the good news. That's okay along there. So I don't have to worry about the grills or fighting with the grills. And that upstand there is also good. So the rot seems to have been propagated from the little panel underneath there. The water's been allowed to sit or has collected there. This is bad news. Yeah, that's quite horrible there. Right, so I'll be using my Artec welder, the 180, on gasless wire, 0.8 gasless wire, for two reasons. One, I found out it works alright, and particularly I'm working outside, so it stops the wind blowing it away. Thankfully it's a fairly still day today, so that wouldn't have been an issue anyway. And just some offcuts of steel when I made the sump. So this is a bit thicker than normal. This is about 1.1 mil thickness, so that'll work out a treat up around here. It gives us plenty of wriggle room for grinding back and things. Right, the first thing I want to try and square off is get a piece to go on this edge here. Now we've got a bit of braze there, which may give us, well, will give us some grease, so I may have to grind that braze back as best I can to get a piece in there. It would be nice to be able to get that piece in total, but oh, there's another structure in behind there. So it's just going to be a case of working our way around this. And this does tip in here as well, so it's not so obvious. All things coming apart, you know, trying to keep as much of this shape as I can. There is a little bit of kick in there, so that doesn't come straight up. So we'll make a piece and we'll kick that in on the vise. We'll make it higher. I'm going to use a jigsaw to be cutting my steel pieces. So jigsaw with a metal blade works a treat. If we come to the other side of the car, you can see we can use this as a reference. So you can see what I mean now with a little kick into the top there. I think in fact I'll make that kick first before we cut the bit of metal, then we can work down from it. And to make the kick, stick a couple of bits of angle in a vise like this, and if you get a tool like this, what we'll do first, I've left my Sharpie up by the car, let's use a pen, make a line there is a line there, honest. Make a line about where you want the kick, and then using a nice flat, not too sharp chisel. It's not too sharp, but a clean edge on it. Just hit along there like that. That way you get a nice crisp line. I may have overdone that, so I'll go and check that against the car and see what we got. Right, yes, I have way overdone that in fact. So I'm going to do another one using exactly the same process, but do it a bit more gently. So this time, in an attempt to be a bit less aggressive with it, I've drawn two parallel lines there, which are about, probably about 4 mil across. So I'll do exactly the same as I did before, put it in there and tap that out. Now, because it's such a small amount, I might not even have to do the tap back over again. Might go to do this in one. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, that's looking a bit more promising. A bit more like the one that's on the actual car. See how easy that is, just to whack a swage in there, just like that. There we are. That's a bit more in keeping with what we got there, so we can work with that. So now we've got our swage line, we can start working with where we want to come. Let's start creeping our way into it. I'm leaving as much of this in place for now as I can, just so I can hopefully keep my edges, and I'll start cutting away as we get closer to it. Now, there's a lap joint there, but what I'll do, I'll probably just cut and butt this in across here because there's a bit of corrosion there, so I'm going to have to cut this down anyway to get to it. Nice thick edge here to weld to, because there's a double layer there, so that's good. Okay, if I leave that edge there and that edge there, we've got something to line up to. I need to start cutting some stuff away here. It's all just in my way. It's time to start putting things in place. Right, let's grind that up and see what we got. Now to grind up around here, because it's a little bit tight, I'm going to use a thicker cutting disc. So one of the ones that Silverline passed on to me. So instead of the normal thin cutting disc, this one's about 3mm. Right, now we've got that dressed up, we can see about doing some repairs on this little corner here. So we've got a few little edges here to get right. And we've got a little flat there and a kick up again there where the wing will sit onto. So I think we'll start working our way up towards that. Alright, let's see what we can do with this then. So looking pretty okay around this area, so it's just this little area here to think about. Oops, it was my elbow. So we've got a shape there, and a shape there, and a shape there. So you see is a few different, and a bit of a shape along there as well. So there's a few different shapes here to go at. So let's see what we can do about manipulating this around, mess about with it. It's just because of getting a very rough shape and then bash it to shape once we start tacking it in. As I said before, it's these little fiddly repairs like this which take the longest. So what we can do now is start tacking this in place. So tack it there, there, and just there. Then we can start manipulating this to where we want it. On the other side, that needs to sort of come across, and we can still see the line in which that would have taken across to there, like so, with a little kick on it there. Right, see what we can do that with. Right, so copying from the other side, we've got a kick going about there, which I can do with my grips. What I might have to do to get this in the right place is put the wing back on temporarily. That's highlighted, that needs to go in a touch. Right, let's encourage it. Lovely, right, okay, that's straight across there now. So the next thing you want to work out is where to put our little piece in there. Okay, so edge of the wing is lining up with the door there and with that corner there. So as long as we get that perpendicular to that, we should be okay. Dremel out, we can do some of my sabre, and we can do some finer cutting here. Right, now we're getting somewhere. Let's tack that there and there and try the wing on it again. Yeah, so we can work with that. Excellent. Right, what I'll do is get the wing back on, and then we can work out to cut this so it lines up with the top of the wing nicely. As long as that lines up with that and that they all line up together. That's what we're aiming for. So I'll take a zip blade across there now, and that'll be our edge to come to from there. Alright, so what I'm thinking now is, because I'm losing a lot of this data line on the other side, make a template from the edge of that to the edge of the windscreen there, and then use it, so flip it over and we can use it on the other side. Alright, so just using our masking paper and some magnets. And that will be our template for the other side. Just swap it over. Yeah, and sense checking it, it's there or thereabouts in the right ballpark. And it looks like it's following that nicely. So I'll cut that out with a piece of steel now using a jigsaw, and then we can see about cutting and buttoning it into place away from that edge. Basically I'm colouring up to the edge of it, and that'll be that inside edge I'm going to cut to then. Just like so. Before we do that, well, I could cut this out now and we can get into there then to get to the rubbish that needs to be cut out down there. Lovely. Right, before I forget to do it, because I'm starting to forget stuff, is I'm going to clean this up and give this a coat of weld through primer. While that's setting off, we can look at doing some repairs inside there. Okay, so this is where we're at. We're up here. Okay, and this all lines up nicely with the wing. That's patched in there. You've got hideousness to do there, and we've got some repairs to do here which are important to seal off, because in there is the inside of the car, so any water that comes down here we don't want going down there, we want it coming over there and draining off down through there somewhere. So we need to cut this out. It doesn't have to be a particular shape as long as it's out the way, and we can plate over the top of it to get the shapes that we want. Just needs to be sealed. Trying to get you guys in as close as I can without getting the camera in my own way. Right, okay, I think we can work with that. So looking at chopping out all this crud in here. The plot thickens. Okay, so looking for good news. Most of that in there is just surface corrosion, so I'm going to give that a good dousing with weld through primer now, and then we can build that piece back up again to see if we can make a bit that will be keep that watertight. So if the idea is to build this up to about here somewhere, then we can got a line we can weld over, so any water running down, and by the time this piece is on and welded, also the whole thing will then be watertight. That's the plan. Right. Let's get some weld through down here. Slather it on. Folded up a bit of metal with a punched a couple of holes in. This is to go in this section here first. So next thing to do, we've got the width of it, which is about there. Hack that off. Needs to start bending about here somewhere. Like with the oldies. Right, so I'll cut a slot in that and then we can start bending it over. I'm not going to worry about using the shrinker stretcher and messing around with this, just simply like this. And we want to be over there somewhere. Right, let's see what we can do with that. Right, we can do something with that, I reckon. Right, on closer inspection, it looks like this. There's 3 skins here, and this panel, this part of the bulkhead here, is actually sandwiched between the outer windscreen skin, the scuttle skin, and the 2 bulkheads. So we need to trim this back and bring this up into there, and that we need a flange to go along to join it up with. And as long as that stays away from this, we'll be okay. So that's out of the way of this panel that's going to be coming in across there in a moment. So just cut a wee flange for that. Like so. Right, that's coming along quite nicely there. So as the water runs down here, it can't go in there now. By the time this gets its proper shapes into there, that's all going to get sorted now. So happy days. Right, let's get the piece onto there and stitched up under there. Right, I've sorted that bit out there. It's a fiddly bit to do here now. This is where we're at. We've got all that sealed off in there now and welded back up and strong and watertight. So the next step now is to get our panel here and weld this into place like so, so it lines up with the corner of that nicely, because we know that's in where the wing is. So what we do is tack it on and get the wing on, make sure it all looks good. And that looks like it flows through there as it should do. And I'll probably cut this back a bit closer, so the cutting butt is a bit tighter than that, but just to weld that across there as well. In fact, if I tuck that underneath there to begin with, get a better feel of where it's got to go, and then trim it off. I'll even be brave enough as to cut that off as it is. Yes, I'll cut that off there now with a jigsaw, and then that should fit in there perfectly more. Should. I may regret this. I think I'll measure between there and there. Make sure that that gap's the same as it is on the other side. Measuring stick. Yeah, okay, that tallies up. So let's zip that off with there rather than doing cut the butt. Seems to be lining up in there quite nicely. Right, this would be better if I do this with the wing in place. Even if it's just roughly, so at least we could got an idea that it's looking half about. Lovely. Right, okay, quite pleased with how that's coming out so far. Let's get some bit of grinding on that and see how much we've got to touch up. There you go. That's really starting to come quite nice now. That's come across there quite nice. It's kept its shape, hasn't sunk in or gone any funny wobbles on it. That's worked a treat. And you'll notice I grind that plane first, then that plane, then put the bevel in to give it that factory fold finish look to it. So yeah, that's come along quite nicely. So the next challenge is to start working our way up around this corner here. Right, for this bit, it's just a case of continuing this down into the corner there, like so, and joining this one around to it. So I think I'll come down first because this is the most straightforward. It is just dead straight down, and join the pillar to it, and then we'll work out where we're going from there. Pretty straight down there, I think. Check the other side. Time to do some more templating. Right, I get this card. I actually get it from work. It's the work pads. It's the leftovers. So it comes in quite handy. It's just straightforward, sort of it looks like a 1 mil thick card. We want to get this, capture this corner shape around here. So we need to get right into there if we can. Right, we can now flip this over, and we've got the template for what the other side of the window should be looking like. Right, so we can use this now to keep coming back to make sure we get that corner the right shape, or close to it at least, hopefully. Yes, I think I'll go and put a fold on this. This needs to be more like that. Ignore that side. I put a bigger fold on it, and that'll give me I'll have enough in to sweep out the bit in it. Okay, here's my plan. Right, and to do that, I'm not going to worry about breaking up my folder. I'm just going to bend it over on the vise. And I don't think it was a proper full 90, so I'll go and try that, and I'll bring it back and tap it if I need to a bit more. That was bang on, so happy days with that. Right, I think I will cut that rot out, and up to there. While I'm at it, might as well use the whole piece. And we cut into there and leave that one long. I can then cut it off to suit the profile of the window, the door pillar. So let's get that removed next. Right, so we've definitely got nice metal up there. Right there. Bring that around. I'm going to cut that out and like that in that direction. Just checking against the other side, that's what it looks like. I don't know, the bottom of it does, but the top doesn't. The top goes straight down. Then there's a funny little lip there. What could that be for? Right, we're going to have a look at the original window rubber and see what I can figure that out. Glad I checked that. So on the window rubber, the inner edge has got a curve on it that clamps onto that. The outer edge is sort of squared off. And as for the shape that's in between there, it doesn't really matter, as long as that edge and that edge can do something. So what that means is it's that edge that matters. So let's trim that out and use that as our guide. Like so. Right, that's that cut out. So I think I should have made this piece in this corner in one go. Bit life hard for myself here now. So we've got to cut that corner off, but there's some holes. Alright, let's just cut it out and see what happens. The real challenge is going to be welding it without getting it all over the place. Right, check the other side, as long as that flows nicely along with that, which it does, we should be in the right ballpark. Okay, let's plug weld that under there and see what we can do about this little squiddly bit on the corner there. Next challenge, fill that bit in across there. Which is simply just going to be a strip which we can make with cardboard first. Oh. Right. Let's get a strip in there. Let's see what we can come up with. Okay, let's make a bit of metal that shape. Okie doke, let's turn that bit into steel. Let's see if we can close off this last little piece of the jigsaw puzzle. Again, need to make another template for the outer edge. Let me go and do that. Okay, well that's good news. That means we can bring that up around to meet that. Looking pretty good with it. Okay, right, we can weld that into there and then we start manipulating that up to join that. Okay, we are on the right track, yeah. Just needed reassurance. Right. Right, this is where we're at. So that's the bit I've just been doing. Probably not couldn't see that so well from that camera angle, but you can see I've filled in that section there. So that's got that's the right profile. That's now the right profile. So we're on to a winner. This is kept fairly flat. We will need a little skimmer filler just to get it perfect, but I'm quite happy with that. So grind this up next and touch up any welds, and then we're on to this section here. Rightio, that's all sealed up and painted and watertight in that corner now, so that's good. So next challenge is work out how this flows down and trim that off to suit, and then start building up to it from there. Now, using this side as a guide, it flows fairly straight, very slight curve on that, which we can just use the rule to get that to flow. Then we've got this going on at the bottom as it joins in around here. So the idea here is to just let the rule sit where it wants to go as we're pressing on it right at the end of where our filler comes to, and you'll see that it sort of naturally will flow where it wants to go. And we know it wants to sit there somewheres. So if we trim that off now to follow that line down, we shouldn't be a million miles away from where that windscreen aperture wants to sit. Right, so that should be where it goes. So all we need to do now is make a sort of a copy of this challenge, the shape of this, and get it down to that corner before it flattens out. From a quick look at the other side, it follows that line around from there sort of to the edge of there. So it should come on straight to there, then wake out that way. So let's see what we can do with that. Righto, a couple of days later, back working on the Manta. So we've got to finish off this door pillar piece here and line up with the wing there. So we'll leave the wing in place for now, just to get a basic idea of where we're going. And let's crack on with that. So our first challenge is work out how to make a piece for this with this crown in it. So what I think about that over the last couple of days, and I think it's over the knee job. So I'm going to grab a piece of metal and form that as best we can and see if we can get that basic shape there. So I've got my best health and safety shorts on. We can get a bit of a crown in this just to suit that door. Right, I think that'll do us. Very tiny. Super. Right, okay. I'll whap that off along there somewhere just to give us a basic starting point, and then we'll work with it. So whether you'll see that, there's a very slight crown in that, and that's all we're looking for. Yeah, so with that very slight crown in there, that works very nicely to our advantages there. Obviously we'll be finishing this off with filler, so this is just to get the basic shapes in play. Right, so I think the best way we're going to get this shape is use the tape method as I've used in the past. Get this somewhere in the ballpark at the very least. Right then, that should get us somewhere close to what we need. And we know we need to come across here somewhere. Oh, there we are, there's our line there. To join up from there to about there somewhere, I think it was. Go check the other side. Yeah, so right in the corner there. So we sort of want a crease sort of along there. So that comes down, creases out and fills that gap there. And the centre of that crown is kind of up there. Let's see. So using our piece that we've already crowned off, which is now roasting hot because it's been sat in the sun, the centre of that crown, yep, centre of that crown is about there. So if we sort of aim for there-ish, and that should be the piece we need. I'll attack that with a jigsaw now. And hopefully be able to do something with that then to bring that to fit into there. Let's give it a whirl and see what happens. So again, using a Sharpie just to colour up to it. Peel that off. And my cut line will be right on the Sharpie edge there. So there, hopefully you can see where the cut line is. Okay, so we're looking at bringing this out a little bit that way. So it lines up with the edge of our screen there. So let's see how we're going to do that. So think about this. So we want to, that's obviously not a case of just shoving it straight in the vise because there's a slight curve to it. And we want to bring this way slightly. So what can we do that with? Oh. Okay. Perfect. So if I clamp that onto there and tap that around that slightly, we'll see how we get on. Oh, that's not a million miles off what we're looking for. We've still got our crown in that bit, which is nice. And that's got the curve in it that we're after, which keeps that crown all the way down that part of the panel there. What we have lost is the shape on that, so we might have to give that a bit of a, what we want to do now is probably stretch that. Flatten that out with the encouragement hammer. Right, let's try that on the car and see how we're looking. Okay, we're not a million miles off there. Come down a touch, I think. Right, well, we're definitely on the right ballpark. It's a case of now, do I cut that in and weld that in there and work that piece around, or on the car, which I think might be the option. Just check on the other side, see what goes on over there. Well, the critical bit is this bit around the corner here. You want to get absolutely bang on. Yeah, I think it's time to start cutting and welding and messing about with it, I think. Getting that in order. Right, so the wing wants to fit there, so we need to trim it off around there somewhere. Right, theoretically if I cut across that line I should come across what's below that I put there earlier. Let's hope so. It's almost like I planned it. Yeah, so we weld all that up around there now, and that's that bit sorted. Happy days. Well, I thought I was on the home straight, but we've got a bit of rot there, you know. She's going to be a pig to get to without taking the door off. And I don't really want to take the door off. That's all looking tidy around there. We can certainly do something with that. What are we going to do with that is the question. Okay, I think this calls for a bit of inventive welding. Using something like that, we just fill the gaps. Give it a go. Where we're at, so we've got this all stitched in down here. That's come okay. It looks awful, but that will grind back half tidy, and our line there is nice as well. So we'll attack that with a grinder and see what we get. Right, that's that awkward bit tucked in. Hopefully you can hear me over the wind. So we've got a nice line across there, nice line down there, and a nice line across there. These are the bits that matter. These are bits which are most visual. Most of this will be covered by rubber around there. So all of that will be out of sight. Most of that will be out of sight. It'll just be, not that it'll be inside, with a little skimmer filler to tidy that up. And happy days. Okay, so chuck a bit of paint on that now just to tidy that up, stop it flash rusting, and we'll call that a winner. Right, there you go. You can still see that it's a still glorious day, beautiful blue sky, and a perfect day for messing around with something like this outdoors. So that's all done. You can see that's come out all right. It was a lot more work than I expected, but it's okay. Now it's nice and strong in that corner now. So it will be a case of a little bit of filler just to finish it off, but it will be a very tiny thin skim to just to finish it. So I'm quite happy with how that's come out, especially this little corner piece here, which was probably the most difficult part of all of it. But all in all, I'm glad I didn't have to go into the vents there, and I haven't had to go too far back down into the pillow as well. I was worried when I started welding that corner there that that's gonna run away there, but as it happens, it was only about a 1/4 inch down, and it was okay. So you saw how we did that with filling it in. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please comment, let me know what you think of the Manta, and don't worry, I will be working on the Escort as well, so in and out depending on what the weather's doing. If it's rubbish, I'll probably be in the garage. If it's tidy, I'll crack on with the Manta. There's still more to do. There's some in the middle of the scuttle. There's a nasty patch there which I'm not looking forward to, because that's going to involve a lot of bending and leaning over, which isn't great for your back. And there's a repair on the other side also similar to this, but doesn't look quite so nasty. But we'll find out once we start getting the grinder out on it and see how much filler. And that was the worry with this. This is the worry with cars. They look tidy, but in behind there is a critical part of the car. This little critical safety part of the car, so just stuffed full of filler. So somebody just bashed in the rust that was already there, left it, and just fill it over it. Very dangerous repair. So if you mess around with old cars, please don't do that. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. If that was in a crash, that would fold, and it wouldn't be very good at all. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and please like and share the channel and all that. Once where it pinches onto the front cover here, front